Hello everyone, and thanks for watching this month's question and answer session. I'm joined today by Adam Caldwell, our Interim Chief Executive, and also joining us for the first time in one of these recordings, our Chair, Alison Evison. How are you both?
Good.
Fine, thank you.
A lot has happened since the last Q&A, and as I'm sure most of you know by now, NHS Grampian has been moved to Stage 4 of the Scottish Government's escalation framework. That's a significant moment for any health board, and I want to start today by talking about that. That's why Alison in particular is here today to help explain what it means, what it doesn't mean, and what happens next. So let's begin with this question from an anonymous unit operational manager who says, given the seriousness of moving to Stage 4 and the financial situation, what's being done to ensure patients and staff, who it's important to add are also patients, are kept well informed in what is likely to be a rapidly evolving situation? I'd also like to know how we can make sure the ongoing work of teams who deliver thousands of successful patient interactions every day is recognised.
Yeah, maybe I could start, Alison, just with a couple of thoughts. So clearly moving to Stage 4 is a really important issue, and it does bring us some additional support from the government, which again will unfold over the coming weeks, and we'll share that with everyone as we understand more and more of what we'll do following the diagnostic visit that myself and Alison spoke to you about earlier in the week. We can't underestimate the scale of the challenge, and that together we'll need to deliver all those changes that will come forward. And I reflect every single day, nothing to do with this escalation, but every single day, really what an incredible system we have. We have thousands and thousands of contacts with patients right across the system, in the community, in the hospital, people from other areas coming to get tertiary provision here. So we do lots of really fantastic things every single day, and we mustn't lose sight of that at all, and the real value that all of our colleagues bring to the work, all the difference we make to patients and the population in Grampian. And that said, we've definitely got those challenges that we're going to work on together as a whole organisation to get us back to that financially stable position.
Yeah, that really is a very important question. And from a board perspective, we all know and are really aware of the gravity of the situation we're in. The pressures we're facing financially and in terms of performance didn't happen overnight, though. The issues we've got won't be resolved overnight either. It's going to be a long-term project to get to a place we all want to be. But it doesn't mean that people aren't working incredibly hard. We know that everyone, as Adam has said, is working extremely hard, and we really do want to acknowledge that and also give thanks to everybody for all the work they're doing day in and day out. The savings made by staffs already in recent months have been substantial, and we're starting to see that they have made a real impact too. So thank you for that. Thank you for all you've already contributed. And yes, we have got some really tough decisions lying ahead, but we're also making some real progress in areas too. Our job as a board is to stay open and honest about what's in front of us, to continue to work together with the team that is NHS Grampian in the wider NHS Grampian, and that we together champion the real difference that our staff make day in and day out.
Okay, here's a follow-on question that ties in with that from an anonymous colleague who works in urology. They say there's sometimes a sense among staff that things can't get much worse financially, and if we just ride this out, things will get better soon. But I'm told next year's projections suggest otherwise. Does Adam worry that some people might be underestimating the scale of the challenge still to come? What will that mean for service delivery? And do we have plans to support staff through what could be an even tougher year as the changes start to bite?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first bit to say is do not underestimate the position we're in. This isn't just going to get better on its own. There's a real big job of work for us all to do, with really key leadership from the board, from the chief executive team, and really from everyone in the organisation. There's a real challenge, a real leadership challenge for us to grasp together. What is it we can do? We can make sure we're really open, just exactly as Alison said a moment ago. We're really open about the challenge, and we work together. And I mean, absolutely everyone engaging in this and really figuring out how do we make our organisation sustainable while still delivering the level of care, the quality, the safety of care that we'd all expect for ourselves, for our loved ones, and of course for the population who we serve day in and day out. And, you know, just to emphasise the scale of challenges we look to next year, so as we look at our medium-term financial strategy, we're aware that there's a real challenge next year, and indeed the year after. We're working on a 3-year plan to get that level of recovery that we need to get to financial sustainability. I think we're not doing this alone. We've got the support from the government, and that's going to be, you know, a really big difference. We've got external people coming to support us, and then we've got the government absolutely as part of that. And as we develop, as the government develop the assurance board as part of that escalation, will become much clearer how we work with the assurance board, how we still work in the governance systems of our board is really, really important. So yeah, kind of summarising that, don't underestimate the scale of the challenge. It is big, and we will only make progress with absolutely everyone in the organisation being part of the solution.
Yeah, we're under no illusions at all about the scale of what's ahead, and the projections for next year are indeed very tough. But I want to be clear as well that we're not just here to observe, we're here to collectively act as well. One of the most important things we can do as a board is to keep shining a light on the pressures that we're facing. That includes, of course, practical support, but also standing up for the principles that matter to us as NHS Grampian too, like, of course, fairness, transparency, realism, and supporting you, the staff, to keep doing what matters for our patients as we move forward.
Thank you both. And finally in this section, a question from a colleague in the Digital Directorate who says, I appreciate it's early in the process, but what assurances can you give staff that stage 4 intervention will lead to tangible improvement rather than just more bureaucracy? And how will staff voices be heard in the process?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think there's a couple of things to think about. So I think the first thing is that we have to make real, tangible change and improvement because we need to get back to that financial sustainability. And of course, let's not lose sight, our performance isn't anything like we'd want it to be at the moment, whether that's through the unscheduled care, pathways of care that patients experience, or indeed whether that's the planned care and the very long waits that we've got at the moment for, a number of patients are above that 52-week wait at the moment. So really key we remember the performance elements as well as the money, and how this programme of work, this improvement plan will absolutely have a real impact and get us on that stability that we need over the next 2 to 3 years. And of course, the second part of the question was about the engagement of our colleagues. But please remember, we also need to engage our patients and the wider population who, at this moment in time aren't part of a patient journey. So we've got Putting People First, which is a programme the board have signed off and really put a lot of weight and a commitment behind, which is about how we engage very differently with the community, and is part of that sort of plan for the future and how we have a sustainable longer term future. And we've already got quite a lot of routes for engagement with colleagues, but we'll look at those as part of the improvement plan and absolutely make sure everyone's got an opportunity to speak up, to be part of improvement. And I guess the real bit for me is getting input for what we do as a whole board, but critically, what do you do in the bit of the system you work in, and how do you have an influence there? How does your voice heard in the bit that you're directly working in? And we'll be doing lots and lots of stuff to make sure that that's absolutely feasible. And Alison, I'm sure there's a few things for you to add to that.
I just want to thank colleagues again for all the work that they're doing, for the questions that have been asked today. I think asking questions helps us give answers as well, and to know what actually is worrying people, what they would like to know more about. So please continue to ask questions. Please engage with us however you can. And as a board, we want this to be our priority as well, that we remain as open and transparent as we can. So many thanks for this engagement. As I've said already, it's Team Grampian, so let's continue to work together as Team Grampian. Thank you.
Okay, thank you both, and Alison, particularly thanks for joining us for this first part of this month's Q&A session. Who knows, we might see you again in the months.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you.
So, moving now into a different space, but one that affects people's working lives just as much. Andrew Bruce, team coordinator at the hospital home team, asks, with the NHS pushing for staff to have electronic payslips, will NHS Grampian be looking at a way so that the staff can access their payslips and P60s from home without needing to use an NHS device?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question from Andrew. Yeah, so a couple of things about electronic payslips are really key. That's saving us some money and clearly better footprint around our green approach. So the payroll and expenses system management group, they're scoping this out at the minute. So I don't have an answer for you, but I think there's a wide understanding of the need for people to be able to have access to their pay slips from wherever they are. So no answer yet. Stand by. The group will keep looking at it, and we'll hopefully come up with a solution very well that works for everyone, but of course needs to be safe for the systems. And gosh, haven't we seen the huge number of attacks on our digital systems, not ours, on digital systems across society recently? So we'll work on that. And I just thought this was a really great opportunity, Stephen, if it's okay, just to mention that actually on a national basis, we're in the process of procuring new business systems, so things like payroll, finance system, HR system. So in the next chapter, we will be using very different systems. The ones we've got are quite old and needing renewed, as it were, to be sustainable. So I just thought I'd mention that in passing.
Okay, thanks, Adam. And that in some ways dovetails nicely with the next question, which is quite detailed, that we've received from Craig Wren, Business Support Manager, who says, payday should be one of the most enjoyable days of the month, but over the last few months, it fills me with anxiety due to how many emails I get from colleagues saying they haven't been paid correctly. This leads to multiple emails to payroll, ease, job planning, etc. And most recently, I had a reply saying, we no longer deal with this, with no explanation or redirect to another colleague. In the past, a single paper form would have sorted all of this out. Now systems don't speak to each other and staff lose hours trying to trace, drown and resolve problems. What can be done to fix this?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. And I absolutely understand the stress, what feels like the huge cost in time and things for systems that don't work and don't speak to each other. I know that Workforce and E-Systems, they've made really huge strides, great progress over recent times, and I understand there are still some gaps. So they're currently updating the intranet sites for the HR Service Centre to make it much easier to navigate and to better signpost where to go with that, with the sorts of challenges that you've set out, Craig. So, Craig, do come back if that doesn't address it and we still don't know, please do come back. It's really important that we get these frustrations ironed out of the system.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. Okay. We've got an anonymous nurse at Aberdeen Royal Infirmary has been in touch and is asking, can you tell me how it can be appropriate for a Band 7 ward colleague to work from home? Their job is to be in the ward supporting staff, assessing ward safety, checking things like skill mix and tackling unforeseen issues as they arise. How can they do that while working from home?
Yeah, obviously I don't know the detail of this. I think, like lots of these things, on the face of it, we need people working in particular ways, and there may be really good reasons why someone might be working at home for part of their role. And the flexibility we've achieved with people working from home has been hugely beneficial to lots and lots of parts of the system. I guess by reassurance, people need to get their manager's permission about how they work and their work program. So whatever this particular example is, that will have been signed off and authorised. So there will have been thought to those things that whoever's raised this question is framing. So that agreement, though, should be very transparent, should be understood locally. So again, maybe there's a reasonable question to ask locally about, I don't know, I make it up, but the balance of time, or what sort of tasks. Obviously, leaders in local clinical areas have lots of administrative tasks to do as well, which maybe they get done much more effectively in a bit of quiet time when working from. I don't know the details, but please try and get some local understanding about that. I think would be most helpful.
Yeah, there's always that balance to be struck between what an individual set of circumstances may require, and the impact on the wider team and other
Absolutely.
colleagues. So, yeah. Okay. Finally today, a practical question about car parking from an anonymous colleague. Not sure where they work, but we presume the Forest Hill site, and they ask, are there plans to fix the damage in the shale car park? Some of the spaces are unusable because of the deep trenches. I can't be the only person to have damaged the bottom of my car.
Yeah, I've checked that this has been reported to Facilities and Estates, so it has, and they will have that in the programme of work to get that fixed. I don't have a timescale for that, but it's on the programme to get fixed. If you see specific challenges, please use the Facilities and Estates help desk. There's a shortcut on everyone's desktop. So click on that and you can report a challenge. So again, just that normal stuff that we all know. If we see a problem, make sure you take responsibility to report it, not assume that everyone else has done it and things. And hopefully the team will be on that straight away. And as always, Chantal Wood from Facilities and Estates is very happy for people to email her directly with any challenges. So please email Chantal if there's anything that doesn't seem to be moving on despite reporting and things, and she'll pick that up and work with people who are reporting those issues. So thank you, Stephen.
That's all we've got time for today. Thank you again to everyone who takes the time and trouble to submit a question. Yeah. We do read every single one, even if we can't get them all to be on camera. Big thanks to Adam and to Alison for joining us. The next session is in June and is already in the planning stage. So if something's on your mind or you've got a burning question, please send it in. Thanks, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.